What's up guys, Air Force Vet here. So today we're going to talk about 5 things that you should look out for if you're looking to buy a C5 Corvette. There's a lot of things, the cars are getting older now, and there's a lot of them out there that people are selling because everybody's kind of stepping up next to the C6 or the C7 or whatever. A lot of the older fellas want to, they got their retirement checks coming in, so they're getting the new stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go over 5 things that I think that are really important for you to look at if you're looking at getting a C5 Corvette. And it kind of differs between the C5 and the Z06. There's different things, small things, but different things that you can look out for. But I'll go over a few of them. So we'll just look at my car so you guys can kind of get a good impression of what it is and what it looks like. So let me flip the camera around here. All right, so the first thing you need to worry about if you're looking at a C5 Corvette is going to be the oil pressure sending unit. That is located on the back of the motor. You're not going to be able to tell if it's bad or not from the outside, but what you will be able to look at is the gauge on your cluster. I don't know if you can see it in here. Let's see. Yeah, it's right there in the top left corner. And so that is going to either be pegged at 80 psi like mine was, or it's going to show nothing, or it could freeze wherever it is. But either way, you'll know because it's not fluctuating when you drive it. And so that's one of those things that you need to get fixed. It's not expensive. I think the part's like 40 bucks. It's just a pain in the butt to get it done. So you can do it yourself, or you can have somebody else do it. The other thing that is going to be important for you to take a look at is going to be the transmission. These cars have the T56 transmission now. And what happens is these things get worn out over time, especially from people not paying attention on how they drive. You can't really see it. You can't see it. But anyway, what happens is it gets worn out, starts grinding, popping out of gears. And the transmission in these cars is actually a load-bearing portion of the drive line, and what happens is you can crack the case, you can break the output shaft. The same thing with the diff. That's another thing. And you can look for like leaks. You'll have like fluid leaks and stuff in the back. One thing to look at is see if there's a lot of grease buildup on the transmission, and so that'll kind of give you an idea of the condition of it. And definitely just feel it out when you drive it. Try every gear, including reverse. Let's see, what else? Another thing is going to be the balancer, the pulley in the front of the car. These start in the front of the motor. These start getting worn out, and they'll do a little, they call it a death wobble. And you'll either know because your belt keeps slipping off, or your braking belts, or it's squeaking. And that's one thing that goes bad on these motors. And you can replace that. It's fairly simple to replace. You just need, I would suggest a new ARP bolt. They're super cheap too, so all of the repairs really for these cars are not really that expensive. One thing that goes out a lot on these cars is the headlight motor. I haven't had that issue with mine, but if they're like coming up uneven, like when you turn on the headlights, if they come on unevenly, or if they're taking a really long time to come up or down, or they make a weird sound like gears grinding, that's an indication that those are going to have an issue. Let's see. Okay, the master cylinder. So with these cars, the master cylinder likes to get it gets debris in it, and it gets just nastiness built up in it from clutch debris and whatever else. So that's one thing. If you get it, I wouldn't say like worry about it when you get it. See how the clutch feels. If it's real spongy, then you got a problem. But when you get the car, definitely get this right here. This is a speed bleeder, and it's connected down there at the transmission, and you can bleed the master cylinder, bleed the clutch much easier with this. It's a huge pain if you have to do it by yourself without that. So that's one thing that's real helpful, and it's definitely one of the first mods you should do to your car, apart from if you want performance stuff. There's not a whole lot else. One thing that goes wrong with these cars is the seats. The seats are old, they get worn out, especially right where mine is messed up. You can see right here where it's tearing, and right here on the side, and that's from getting in and out, years of getting in and out of the car. It's just one of those things. It's, you know, it's not detrimental to the car. A lot of people like to replace the seats anyway because they're not the best bolstering seats. And then one more thing is going to be the top of the, if you have one of the fiberglass panels or glass panels for your roof, a lot of times the clear can wear off of them, and that's one thing that'll go bad on these cars. Not crazy to redo, you just sand it down and re-clear it. You can have that done for probably pretty cheap. Let's see. I know that the earlier models, like pre-2000 models, they have issues a lot of times with wiring. I think 02 and up is probably your best bet if you're really looking for like a really reliable, sorted out car. 02 and up is going to be your best bet as far as getting a car that's got minimal issues. Another thing right here, this is a cowl that directs air from the ground up onto the radiator in the air conditioning condenser. And what happens is it sucks a lot of nasty stuff up in there, dirt, sand, rocks, leaves, anything you can think of that's on the road when you're driving. And over time, it gets clogged up and it causes you to have higher coolant temperatures. And so that's not anything to fix, really. I mean, you may have to replace it depending on how bad your AC condenser is clogged. But you can get in there with an air gun or even with your hand and clean some of that out. And it'll help out your cooling a whole lot. Let's see, what else can we talk about? As far as first mods go for your car, I would say do the airbox mod. Or get a cold air intake for your car. They're relatively cheap. Veram makes a really good one and it's not very pricey at all. I got a K&N just because I've always had K&Ns on my cars. And one thing to look out for with these is that when you drive in the rain, you can actually get water in between here and it'll get onto your filter. So what a lot of people do is get some weather stripping, and they'll put weather stripping in here, and that'll help keep it dry, keep it waterproof. I haven't done that yet, but I very rarely drive this car in the rain, so only when I have to. What else performance-wise? Definitely an X-pipe. An X-pipe will really help out the sound of the car, and getting rid of the cats makes a huge difference in power. I mean, that's one thing that you'll definitely feel. That and long tubes. Texas Speed makes a nice set, 1 3/4 set. I think it's like $700 for that and the X-pipe together, and they fit really well. And you can see them down there. Plug wires also. I did plug wires when I did the headers. The plug wires were old, and they're going to be getting subjected to some heat down there, so I want to make sure that they were good and ready to go. So we got some plug wires. Sometimes the idler pulley, this thing can start squeaking and making noise, and you can replace it, but they're pretty expensive to replace. I think a new one off of Texas Speed is like $450 or something like that. It's really expensive, so I hope mine doesn't go bad. If it does, I'll replace it, but it's going to suck if it happens. You got an oil cooler down there. Those can leak from getting beat up. But I mean, it's basic maintenance things, really. It's nothing crazy. So a lot of the stuff you can fix on your own, or you can decide that you're okay with dealing with it. So it's really not a big deal. These cars are super reliable. I mean, my car's pretty modified if you've seen other videos. And it's been so reliable. I mean, it's been a great car. So I really recommend anything on the LS platform in general is going to do you right. So as long as you take care of the car, keep it maintained the way it's supposed to be, and take care of it, it'll take care of you. And I'm sure you've heard people say that before: take care of your car, it'll take care of you. And that's really all there is to it. So yeah, intake and exhaust will really make a huge difference in your car, and then once you step up to a cam, that'll make a big difference. My car has the LS6 intake on it. I believe I said before in a previous video it was 03 and 04, but it's actually, I think it's, you guys said 02 and up. Came with the LS6 intake. They're much better flowing than the LS1. You can go on superchevy.com. They have an article where they did all different kinds of tests with all different kinds of intake manifolds on a car. It's a cathedral port intake manifold test. And they saw that the LS6 was actually a really good performing intake, and it did really well in the mid-range. So you can take a look at that if you like. I did a lot of research on that website. They have a lot of good information and a lot of cool tests that nobody could normally afford to do to test things out, figure out what they want. Another thing you can do is you can get rid of the map screen, but it's a little bit more dangerous for your map. You can get rid of it. It'll give you a little bit more flow. I don't know how much you can feel it. I've seen other guys do it. Mine's still got the screen in it. And then you can do the throttle body, just all the basic bolt-on stuff that most cars have. I will warn you, on the axle back exhausts, they are so expensive. It's that Corvette tax. You end up paying, like this SLP loudmouth here, it's literally just pipes. There's no mufflers, and it was still $700. But it looks really good. It fits really well. A lot of people have like a rattle and stuff sometimes from their axle backs. Mine's not doing that, so I'm happy with that. If I were to recommend an exhaust, it would either be a Billy Boat Pro Touring or the Corsa Extreme. So those are two really good. Corsa's great, no drone. So yeah, if you like the video, definitely give me a subscribe. Next time we're going to be reviewing some of the military guys on base, their cars. My neighbor's got an STI, so I might review his Subaru, and there's a couple other cool cars on base. There's a 800 horsepower Camaro that I'd like to get a few shots of and review. So anyway, thanks for stopping in. If you've got any questions, definitely let me know. Shoot me a comment, and like and subscribe. Thanks.